So, Halo Infinite Multiplayer Season 2 has finally been announced. Should be dropping in early May. So, with this here, they have announced a couple new modes, including more, which I think is crazy because they, in before they launched, said that they would not be doing a battle royale mode. But they literally have a free for all elimination mode in the game called Last Spartan Standing. With that as well, they've also made some changes to King of the Hill, and they are finally adding in a battle pass almost 6, 7 months after launch, and overhauling the customization system in the game. Perry, how do you feel about Halo and the announcement of Season 2 finally being upon us?
After looking at everything that's being added, they're giving us a game now that seems more fleshed out. So I'm happy, but is it a little bit too late? I don't know. Just because the hype of Halo has fallen like extremely fast. And I do see people coming back, but the state of what Halo is, with the expectations in the project of what it should have been, oh, they're in the red. They're nowhere near as successful as they should have been. I'm talking about Halo was probably the most anticipated FPS when it was announced because you got veterans coming back to the game. Like you had people who started their careers in FPSs.
Ninja.
You know what I'm saying?
One of the biggest streamers out there started his career in Halo.
So, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to see it come back and announce like that, but wasn't a fleshed out full multiplayer game that was very limited and just die after 3 months was very saddening to see because again, this game was going to be the second coming of greatness because I mean, I couldn't wait to be toxic online and teabag everyone.
Yeah. So I just want to throw this out there to you. Because I did some research on this after I heard about the announcement, and I went to go look at numbers. So when Halo started, when Halo multiplayer in particular started this past November, they had a monthly average of 102,000 people online playing, and I want to say like their peak was around like 350K. Don't quote me on that number. And these are numbers coming from SteamCharts.com. When I checked yesterday on a Saturday afternoon, they were at a player count of 7,334, and in the last 30 days had an average amount of players of 5,895. 6,000 people were the average amount of people playing Halo, the former king of multiplayer games. 6,000 people again. And that's again coming from a few months ago having 100,000. Which is alarming because at this point, as of last week even, there's been reports of people having issues with finding matches in particular modes in Halo Infinite. If you want to play Capture the Flag or Team Deathmatch, I forget what they exactly call those modes in the game. Those are still there, but if you want to play some of those more obscure modes right now, it's hard to find a match in those. And that's scary because this is supposed to be the golden goose of
FPSs.
Microsoft.
Exactly.
And of shooters as well, Perry, you're right.
Yeah,
so it's hard to not be worried about the fact that this game has fallen off so fast and so hard. Like, do you think that season 2 is really gonna do it? Do you think they're coming back?
it's a possibility. They will just have to market it really well. I mean, it's Microsoft will have to do something phenomenal for it. I'm looking towards like I don't know. In the age in where you're not the only Titan out there making noise and ripples throughout the gaming world, you're gonna have to come correct first. Just
Yeah.
because, again, we seen it happen. We had two Titans released within a week from each other. Both phenomenal games. One was snuffed out, unfortunately, and a game that was great. You had a very bad launch. My fault. Delay schedule, semi mediocre launch, and then nothing after that. People have
Yeah.
moved on. Fortnite got rid of building and their player base exploded.
Right. Yeah, and Fortnite is one of the best to do it because they do crazy stuff like blow up the world for a week and let people not play the game. Why? Because people are going to go crazy and want to figure out what happens. So when that game relaunches again after a week, people are going to go run and play it like crazy because they've not played it. They're going to get rid of building because people are going to say, "No way, I don't believe that. I know the news story says it, but I'm gonna load up the game and check it out anyway. I'm busy right now, buddy. Okay, we'll play dinosaurs when I'm done with the show. Okay. Okay, love you. Um. So yeah, it's crazy to see that Halo is in the state that it's in because I don't know if you caught this, but they actually announced that multiplayer campaign in Forge mode will probably not make it in until season 3. So I guess the saga continues, and then that begs a question of how long are we going to have from season 2 to season 3? Hopefully, it's only like 3 months, but I mean, can we really know for sure?
I mean, only Microsoft knows. And then there's a link that G has been sharing around of what Microsoft does and how they handle their studios. So with that, it's foretelling. Hopefully, something good comes from that. But I'm not totally for sure, man. I this was the this this to me, and I told you I was highly vocal about this. This was to my idea of a guaranteed dub for Microsoft, a guaranteed dub. In the whole aspect of Halo, even to the show, has not been, God bless you, has been
Thank
great
you.
at all. So I'm holding out hope because, again, all aspects of gaming, be it a Microsoft fan, Nintendo fan, a PlayStation fan, everyone has their own particular area where they love and want to be at. And I just want Microsoft to finally get the dub and present
Yeah,
something that's playable for me to be like, I play you now. There hasn't been a moment of that yet.
yeah. And then also a side note, and I spent a portion of this past week trying to find this information, but apparently some Starfield gameplay has leaked. It looks far enough in development. Well, it should be far enough in development, considering it's supposed to be out in the next 6 to 9. I mean, 6 to 8 months. Um, but Starfield gameplay has leaked, and a lot of people are underwhelmed by it.
It's literally
Now,
Skyrim in space. That has been the
now,
compared thing.
now, that's what they pitched it as. But I've seen some images. I've not seen the actual gameplay. It looks pretty barren. Where yes, Skyrim was a game that was lived in, and there were adventures to be had and dragons to duel. What we got was a space, like kind of like a space. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a space fort, I guess, to say it, the easiest way. And then some weird textures on what looks to be the moon, and just a barren landscape with black skies with a couple twinkles of stars. Now, sometimes I know that the scuttlebutt and console wars on Twitter can skew things, and it's hard to tell who's a fan, who's a hater, and everything in between. But at least what I saw did not look too interesting, but they were just still frames with nothing really happening other than some UI stuff and some HUD stuff. So hopefully we get some gameplay. I know E3 season, I guess now Summer Games Fest season, boom, is right around the corner. Yep, I said scuttlebutt. Um, but anyway, that's right around the corner. So hopefully we'll finally get some gameplay and we'll get to see that game represented as they intended it to be. Um, I just hope that what they show us is not as bland as what's floating around on Twitter right now. Um,
I won't
with
believe
that,
anything until I see it myself. At this point, I don't. The internet's not real to me. Links
yeah,
are
the
links.
internet's a crazy place.
It's a crazy place. Leaks, unless even at leaks at this point, man. I want to be when it drops. I want to be there and surprises everyone else. I don't care about not being the first to tell the story anymore. I just want to be the one that tells the story the best. So
Right. When you rush to tell the story for the first time, you end up like that news outlet that said that Tom Brady retired for him to be like, no,
he probably
I
retired,
guess.
but he spent time with his wife and kids and said, "Nah, I'm good.
Right. Let me get out of here.
I'm ready to go play more football."
Right. So yeah. But again, Halo is it's doing stuff. We can only hope that it's great stuff. We'll have to wait and see. We've only got, I guess, at minimum 4 weeks before that pops up. Let's see here. Halo had a formula to be king again and just dropped the ball. No, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think Halo had the formula. So I
They had
would
the hype.
suggest
They had the hype.
they had the hype is what they had. So this is the thing that a lot of people don't recognize. Over half of Halo Infinite was developed by contractors. Like, there's a really good story going on YouTube that is titled, I think, "What the hell is going on with Microsoft Studios," and they kind of really break it down. That game was supposed to be more open world than what it was. They had to scale it back because they only could hold their contractors for 18 months at a time, and then after that 18 months they had to contract new contractors and finish the game based on what the previous team of contractors have done. And some of those things got lost in translation, so they had to cut out large portions of the game, large portions of the open world. um, and and for that reason, that's why things like the multiplayer campaign and such got cut, and so many other things. I don't necessarily think they had the formula, but what a lot of people don't realize is when Halo was king of console shooters, we didn't have huge options. Yes, kid. Okay, I can't make people play with you, kid. Um, but like I said, we didn't have huge options like Call of Duty, Battlefield. We didn't have Destiny. Now we do. We didn't have what else? We didn't have like what's the other Rainbow Six Siege, and even like some of those third person shooters. Like even though they kind of flopped in their own respect, what a division and so on and so on. There's so many console shooters now. Even Borderlands, and then the Tiny Tina Adventure does like this weird mesh of like a classic RPG mixed with shooters. There's so many options out there now that I don't think it's necessarily a thing of they didn't follow the formula. I think the issue is that they followed the formula that they had. That was a formula set by Bungie in a time that Bungie did not have as much competition. And because 343 did not have their own vision, they got wrapped up in trying to deliver the return to form that Bungie created. They focused too much on that. They did not innovate, and because of that, all of these other shooters that are around look just as good.
Just as good. And I'll defend Kyle's point on this. The esports was set. If they
Yeah, it
focus on
should
the
have been.
if they focus on the competitive aspect of the online gameplay and things of that nature, they were back for greatness. Like as far as when it came to competitive shooters, if they had everything balanced and they tested it and they came back with, hey, here's a multiplayer, we're doing this, we keeping everything balanced, we keep updates going, and then allowed the esports scene to organically come back in full throttle, they had all the vets coming
Yeah.
back. You had all the
I mean,
vets coming back.
let me ask you a question, Perry,
Mhm.
and this supports your notion. We just got Ghostwire Tokyo and Kirby, which are probably the last biggest games to come out until we kind of get into Q3.
Hmm.
What else is coming out right now?
Outside of updates, nothing. Nothing of importance to us.
Tell me what it would have looked like had they just said, you know what, I understand the anniversary is here, but let's delay the game. Let's release it during this window of April to May. They could have had season one, could have been 3 months long. That would have gave them time to already prepare for season two. That would have been out at the beginning of Q3. They would have had content ready, the battle pass would have been ready, customization would have been ready. Maybe multiplayer campaigns in forge mode still got delayed, but they would have been out a couple months after the game rather than almost an entire 6 to 8 months after the game. They would still rule that conversation, and on top of that, they would have launched alongside the Halo Paramount show, which from what I hear isn't the greatest, but it would have been a huge marketing machine.
Easily.
Like, I don't know, I just feel like the ball was dropped because they had the opportunity to, even if maybe Halo was never Infinite was never going to be as great as like the glory days of Halo. We all could have hoped for it, and if they would have nailed that marketing machine and hit everything at the time that they should have hit it, like now, oh my god, like
Absolutely.
it would have been inescapable.
100%. I totally agree. There was a lot of balls dropped behind the scene for this game to not be as successful as it should have been. Marketing standpoint, failed. There's no reason, to me, zero reason why the show wasn't implanted in the video game for any type of marketing at all. There should have been like a season special of the show launch for a week within the video game. There should have been,
Yeah.
like you said, when it was like a slow run, you hit it during this point in time. This is when, hey, we got season one for the next 3 months of some of the biggest esports teams in the circuit right now that came back to Halo going live. Welcome to this area. Let's have some fun. Let's go out there and have a ball. Tournaments should have been popping up. LAN parties, unfortunately, because of COVID, very limited that. But with the regulations like being more lenient, having a LAN party type of thing going on would have been Halo's return of the king is here. That would have gave the nostalgia aspect tenfold of a feeling of people coming back, and then marketed to the newcomers of video games and competitive video games, or where this is where it is. I, I don't want to go on a tangent right here, but I want to say something. When it comes to everything now, there is so much of I got to do it first. I don't want to be last. I don't want to be lasting. I just want to make the first big impact and just leave it alone. There's
Yep.
no there's no like no, I want to build, I want to stay here. I want to make my impact first to come out really big, but I also want to stay consistent. Like a
Yeah.
like a man getting a new wallet and it being worn down until we have to get a new one. You want to show consistency. It's showing like, no, I care for this for so long that you can see
Yeah.
it still holds together. Just the outside doesn't look good, but we can pretty that up for you. We can get that fixed, and that's just like it's the Americanized thing of everything at this point that I just don't
Yeah.
like on all aspects. It's like, let's take our time, let's enjoy it. We don't have to just keep pumping out and stay in this fast lane, because that's how things get burnt out.
Facts.
Like, I don't want to get burnt out for any of this. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be the first to just did all this and go on to the next thing. That's not what the intent of a lot of these games are for. You want to enjoy it for what it is. You want to enjoy it for what, what the developers took. Just because developers didn't do this overnight. Plug and play is a thing now for developing to make it faster, but you're going to pump out so much content that's not going to mean anything. Why do we need, like, there's no point, there's no heart and soul in that. Give me something that's going to be good. Little Nightmares 2. Ryan, I mean, it's the first one was a phenomenal shocker. The second one, great as it is. Like, it was a great, phenomenal game if you played it. Things like that matter. AAA games, take a hold of that. Be good. It's okay not to be the
Yeah.
first one. Just be the best one.
Yeah. And I mean, and my thing is at the end of it all, like, to support your notion, I 100% understand why Microsoft pushed to have Halo out when it was, because when you look at the launch year
They had no more
of the
money.
Xbox Series X, no, it's not a thing. I mean, Microsoft will probably never run out of money. What it
Never
was
run
is
out of money. Their
they didn't have
budget.
any they didn't have any content. So the thing is this: when you look at it, for 2020 or 2021 was like the first full year of Xbox Series X and Series S being out. Um, which, by the way, there's some footage out, and the Series S is floundering right now. I challenge you all to go look at the Digital Foundry review of Final Fantasy Stranger in Paradise, or whatever the hell it's called. It's out here looking like an Xbox 360 and PS3 game, and people are upset. But anyway, when you look at 2021, again, the first year of the new Xbox family's launch, they had three exclusives. They had the Medium, which, like, 3 months after the launch, came to the PS4 and PS5. You had Forza Horizon 5, I think it is. And then you also had, what was the other one? Oh, Halo. So I get why they really pushed to have that game out when they did. Also, it was kind of corresponding with the anniversary. But my thing is this: when you do the math, you Xbox has already had a problem with having exclusive content ready for their platform. In a year where you truly had two first party exclusives, two exclusives, despite the fact of it being first party, it's already a bad year. Like, I get, all right, let's get this out so we can say we have two. But at this point, like, Forza Horizon was killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. Probably the most popular game that they've launched to date, and I know part of that is because it was free on Game Pass. But Game Pass is doing what it's supposed to do. It's driving conversation. It's getting people to try new games. They should have just waited. Like, what's the difference in saying, hey, in 2021, we had two exclusives? That's just as ridiculous as saying you only have one. There was really no excuse for them to just push for it, and now it's created the situation that they're in now, which leads right back to what you're saying. That that what have you done for me lately notion that 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 the American rhetoric kind of pushes is ridiculous. And one thing that I can say is, as gamers, the gaming industry, which is really interesting, like, we still have scumbags that go around and make death threats over changes to characters and all that stuff, and that's ridiculous.
It's wild.
But that's the vocal minority. The actual silent majority here, we've matured a lot. And whereas back in the day when you delayed a game, people would get upset. You hear so many people now saying, hey, shout out to my boy Chris, thank you so much for the sub 1 tier. But you have so many people out there now that are just saying, hey, the game is delayed, yeah, it sucks, but give us the game when it's ready. That is like the new understanding. We understand that these games are not getting delayed because they want to be evil overlords and twist their mustaches and laugh at the fact that we don't have the game that we want. They're delaying it because there's something wrong, or there's something they can make better, and we deserve better.
Absolutely.
So it's really unfortunate that, especially after we saw how Cyberpunk came out and it floundered, and it's just now a actual good game. It's just now happening in the last month or two. They should have just waited, man.
It should have been
And
waited.
it really sucks because they could be, pun intended, king of the hill. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah. Yeah, but they could be on the top of that tower right now. But what did they decide to do? They decided to rush it because they wanted to meet those deadlines. They wanted to hit the bragging rights of, man, we've got two exclusives in 2021, which is still not a great amount.
God,
And
we've been
now here
saying
we
this
are in
for
this.
over a year together. I'm going to quote someone that I pick on her community the most, and that is the Beehive. Beyonce said it. No one puts out albums anymore. Full albums. No one cares about the entirety of a good album. No one wants to take their
Yeah.
time to put a piece of art together. That is what video games are. Video
Yeah.
games are more than just cash grabs, in my opinion, because I
They
hold
should
it.
be.
They, I mean, I look at them as a standard of what beautiful gaming and art can be. Examples: Buzzing with the Boys is art of guys playing together, having fun with video games that bring them joy. They've been playing Apex for a while, and they even went back to Fortnite. Yeah, I paid attention to you, Kyle. And then you have Kyle and Demigod who play things of like Destiny that is
Yeah.
phenomenal. So to us, I don't know. I'm in a real weird state of this. No one's going back to Fortnite. You play it for funsies. And you know I don't call it Fortnite. You know this. You know what I call that game. But it's just the
Truck
aspect of
nut.
exactly. So I don't know, it's in a weird place. And I want gaming just to if you're a juggernaut at one point in time in the industry, you want to come back, take your time. You're a juggernaut. Um I've Nintendo does it best with their juggernauts. If their juggernaut is not ready, they're going to tell you it's not coming out. Play something else.
Yep. We just saw what last week or the week before with Breath of the Wild, and then
we
they had the nerve to show us the same exact gameplay with one frame of new footage.
they literally on one of their Nintendo Directs said, "I know you want to see Metroid Prime 4. It ain't happening right now."
Right. And then it came out. And then it came out again and said, "Hey, I know you want to see Metroid 4, but we didn't like it, and we're starting over." Like it sucks. It's not always what we want to hear, but trust me, Nintendo knows that their fan base would rather wait an additional couple years to get the Metro game that they have always dreamed of than for them to just push out whatever and then get a Metroid game that they hate.
Liv, if
These are things that we love. So
absolutely
just keep that in mind, guys.
facts, Liv, I'll find
Um,
you the link where you can find the numbers of data for Twitch people returning to Fortnite. Um, yeah, like Sarah said, Nintendo know what they're doing. Like, does Nintendo like money? They love money. Sometimes they miss out on great opportunities with money, but when Nintendo says they're not doing something, this this is what I believe in a lot of good just Japanese work in general.
mhm.
They're going to keep to what they love and what they want to do. They don't care about the vocal minority. They don't care about the vocal majority. They're going to pump out what they're going to pump out. They're not tailoring or catering to anyone's feelings. Nintendo's
Yep.
like, we, oh, they said, we don't care if you don't like sword characters and um,
Smash.
Smash Bros. Ultimate. We're going to
Yeah.
give you 10. We don't
Yeah, we
care.
like them and we're gonna put them in.
We're going to put
Um,
for us because we enjoy what we make. Who cares what you think, bud? This is my
yeah,
game.
and
Support it or not.
honestly, to support that, like you Japanese developers very rarely put out games that are just complete and total broken garbage. The thing is, Japanese developers a lot of times put out games when they are done and when they are ready and when they are proud of the game. Whether or not that game is good is left to be determined to the audience. But it is inherently a Western publisher and development kind of deal to put out games that are not ready. Hence why we do end up waiting so long for Final Fantasy, and why we end up waiting so long for uh, what's the other one right now? Metroid and Bayonetta and so on and so forth. Why the Metal Gear games always took so long and always got developed 50, 11 times before they came out. Even though that drove Konami crazy, but Konami, as we know now, actually has a lot of Western ways about the way they handle their business. Um, but nonetheless, like that's not anything that they do on the eastern side of the map. Even like Wukong, we've seen that, and then everyone went crazy, and dude said, "Hey, whoa, cool your jets. This is what we have now. We're kind of sort of proud of this, but the next time you see this game, it's going to look a hell of a lot better. It's not ready. You will see more when it's ready." And then when we saw that game again, it blew off of everyone's pants. So we've got to allow these developers to have time to kind of do more of what they want to do. Because yes, Liv, I agree. There are lots of impatient hussies out there, and a lot of them are in the corporate offices. Let's see here. We can definitely take some of that and bring it here because great things take time. Yeah, I agree. And like y'all said, current society has a huge problem with always creating content, quick, fast, and perfect each time. Yeah, never gonna happen. Sarah is a genius. I love Sarah. Sarah, you're the greatest. We appreciate you always being here. Um, so Perry, we can hound on about rush culture in video games for forever. Unfortunately, is there do you want to hang out here anymore, or do we want to kind of skate on to the next two topics here?
Um, we can move on just because we can harp on this all day, and there's
Yeah,
going to be more news that for that. And hold on, um, so many amazing creators stop early because of burnout. Burnout in the industry is huge. Live,
it's real. Yeah,
it's a
it is.
huge thing. A lot of these companies overwork their people during crunch time, and when they want to pump out something with the rush of it, you have creators on platforms that get burnt out because they're just not getting the numbers that they want, and they're not taking their time and not being organically grown. And then, creative burnout on YouTubers, because in a sense, you are your own network, like a Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, that's producing content in which you want your numbers to stay high all the time. You have to come up with these ideas, you have to come up with these topics, you have to come up with these interactions, and then you get into the realm of, I just want people to click on my video instead of creating something that you love to enjoy and not killing yourself in the process of
Then
doing so.
clickbait happens.
And then you have these influencers who just need to get punched in the face because they're
Yeah.
just I'm so sick of these random videos, man. There's a lot that I'm really sick of, and I think I'm just going to do like a single off video of myself just going off on what I'm tired of seeing on the internet as far as creatives and
Yeah.
influencers, because I've hit my take, and it could be that I'm tired, but I'm really annoyed with a lot, and I just want to address it.
Okay, so there's one I have to say here. And it hurts my heart to say this, but in 2021, 2022, as much as he doesn't miss, Mighty Keith is one of those guys. Like I love his content when his content is good, but there's been so many times he's dropped a video that's 5 minutes long, and in that 5 minute video there is a 2 to 3 minute advertisement. And I understand that he is probably a one man team or a very small team if there are other people on it, but like we do get that. We do get that. Sometimes people push out content, whether it's games or YouTube videos, whatever it is, for the sake of getting something out, and it shows when that happens. So again, don't rush. Take your time. I understand that it's that in the YouTuber situation like Mighty Keeves, that's probably his livelihood. So I understand to a certain degree. But damn, y'all.